I have completed most of my band for making this in Illustrator. Now, when I actually, so you need to understand this whole thing about sister sizing. So if you kind of look, this band in particular is good for these two sizes. So we are now working on the 44. So these are actually for the 42. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy. So I'm going to hold down the shift button and select each of those. So I'm going to copy those and bring those over here. Just bring them over. So we now have, so if you look here at the name, this one would have been a 42G, 40H, but this is also, actually I forgot to, it was also the 44F. So basically this band we have repeated for each size set. Now I have had to make a few tiny modifications when I compare them to the back band, but I'm probably only having to do that because I changed the shape of my back band. So there's a good chance that when you convert this in, you can line them up to double check them, but you may not need to. So we basically have 44F, EFG, H, I. So now we need the 44J. So I'm going to go open up my recent file. Okay, and let me try and figure out which one this one is. So that's the 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44. Okay, so this is this one right here. Of course, it's all the way up there. Sorry. Just need to make it smaller. So this here, which would be the 38M that we had, I'm going to basically draw my lines in and bring this back over to the other side. So I'm going to do that on my own, just because it takes a few minutes. Okay, I've drawn in all my lines for the front and bridge for this size. Now, when you're doing each size, it's really important that you don't hit save in your main file, because you're going to end up having to export it again, because if you save over it, then you lose all your other pages. So once I've drawn it, I'm going to just hit Control X to excuse me, Control X, where is it? And then bring it over here. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is my last size. Over here, I'm going to close that. No, I'm not saving it. Then we're coming to here. And I don't need to be in isolation mode. I don't know why I'm in isolation mode. Alright. Now this one here, we need to name this one. This is going to be the 44J bridge. Now if we were doing additional sizes, we could name all the others 44J front band. Okay, so now the last thing we really have to do for the band is we need to import and convert all of our back bands. So I'm going to go do my 44, and then I'm going to just open each of these just like we did before. And I'm going to make my screen a little smaller. And so I'm just going to go in and redraw these. And remember, I'm actually making it without without this dip here. So that's why I'm having to alter the patterns when I'm done. So I'm just going to go here, click. And almost done with this one. Okay. Unlock those, Control J, basically join them all together, Control X to take it off that page. I'm not going to save that because if we save it, we lose all of our other band pieces. And then I'm going to bring it over here. Now, my screen, because these pattern pieces are a lot bigger, I have to move this over just a bit more. So, because I've already done all the other sizes. And move those over here because that's what I'm working on. Okay, so this is my 44F, and I keep doing that. So this is my 44F. And then I'm just going to go to my recent, so I can open that one back up, page 2. And I'm going to do that for my last remaining set of sizes. And then I'll show you what to do. Now that my whole back one has been converted, now I'm just going to kind of compare my front and back. And I'm overlapping it at about a ½ inch. Now I know this because I have done this enough times to know about what a ½ inch is. And nope, that's too much than a ½ inch. Basically, we want to, because our seam allowance is a ¼ inch on each one, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we don't worry about what the edge lines are. What we want to know is where they overlap. So right here in the middle is where they overlap. So we want to make a smooth transition from the front to the back. So I'm just going to arrow those down so we have a nice smooth shape. Now in the smaller sizes that I did, I actually had to change the front more than the back. But here this looks like a smooth transition when you're going to be sewing it together. So I'm going to check that for each one. So I've got that. And I've nested them, kind of did a temporary nest on them so I know kind of where things are going. Here I'm just arrowing down. So right at the middle where the intersection is, that's where that needs to be. And there's just extra points here. And so I'm going to do that for each of these sizes. And once we do this, then we're just going to work on, I haven't done the cups, completed the cups yet. I've just been working on the bands. Then we're going to work on a nest that actually looks nice, and then we can do our colored lines on. So that'll be the next thing we do. So for each one of these, I want to try and get them close enough together, but the lines aren't overlapping. This way when we print them out and cut them out, or whoever's going to be cutting them out, it's going to be easy enough. And so I can also use my arrows, because like I said, we want to have a small, we would like it all to fit on one page. Okay, so this looks pretty good. This one over here does not. So let's play around with, okay, I probably need to have it so there's a little overlap on all sides. Okay, so they're still overlapping a little bit here. I wasn't really being careful on that. So this one, actually, these are pretty close. But I would like to have a little differentiation. I'd like it so the lines are not all connected. Because what's really frustrating is when you have somebody who's making the pattern and can't figure out where the lines are to cut them out. Okay, so now let's just figure out what we want to do for our lines. So we can do this so all of our F's. So the F of everything, let's do this dashed at 8. Let's see, we'll see what that looks like. So that looks pretty good. Once you have the one highlighted, if you just go and select the other one and then hit the dashed line, it will copy what you just did. So here, if I want to hit dash line, it's going to copy the last one I had selected. So here, let's just say we'll do 3-5-2-6 just to see what it looks like. Yeah, that's definitely, we can differentiate that. So we touch that one, and then we're going to select this one, and then we hit the dash line. We don't have to remember what we just selected. So here, let's do one that's Okay, so I created, so I'm doing just the next one, doing a dashed line, and then we'll come over here and I'll create a new one. Let's just say we do 10. See if that looks different than that first one. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So that one. This one, maybe we'll just do this as 2. That should look very different than anything else. That's your 2. So once you have that, then we can go over here and say, okay, you know what? This one and that one, oops. Yeah, I have those grouped. Undo the group. So I select that one. I'll select this one. Do my dashed line. Select the second one. Select the second one. Dashed line. So it's really easy to repeat the same pattern on each size. So you can see. So I'm just going to do that for each of my sizes. And once I'm done with this, I'm going to go and I'm going to work on my cups, to making my cups pretty in Illustrator, and working on doing my nest. Finished results. I have about 32 pages. I actually created these as art boards, and since the normal print size is 8.5 by 11 in the US, I made my art boards 8 by 10.5. That way you gave a little bit of a little area around the edge, because some printers don't print all the way. Anyways, as you can see, this was very time consuming. If I were to give a good estimate of how long this took once I put it into Illustrator, I'd probably say close to 8 hours. Maybe a little bit less. I have a 4-year-old, so I had a lot of distractions. So I might have been able to complete it in about 6 hours, but this one took me about 8 hours. And if you're doing this for the first time, I'd probably give twice as much time. So you're probably looking at around 16 hours of work to complete your first full pattern like this. A lot of other patterns you can create with the software are not this complex with this many ranges, but bras are a whole different story. But that is the end of my Illustrator importing and pattern creation tutorial.